Okay, today we're going to do a Galaxy DX-959 with an RFX-75, and we're going to do the whole thing in front of you. It's not going to be popping in and popping out. You're going to get to see it all done. We'll pop in and out for trivial stuff, like right now we're going to take the radio out of the box. We'll be right back. Okay, she's out of the box now. Let's take top and bottom covers off. At this point, be careful as you're flipping the radio around. Chrome has to remain brand new looking. Now Cliff already knows where he wants to drill the hole for this. I'm going to take this little plate off the back. It shows the Galaxy serial number, the FCC ID. Take that over the top. We'll save that ID and we'll send it along with the owner's manual. Okay, we found that when we put these in here, where it centers and squares right up, gets in the way with that little driver transistors. So he's going to loosen that up. Let me show you the inside of this real quick. This driver transistor right here, he's going to move that out of our way and make sure it doesn't give us a problem with the hold down bolt on the RFX-75. That's the final. He's unbolting there, and in this procedure we remove the final. It's no longer going to be required, it'll be replaced. Okay, we're going to start our instructions. I'm going to read the instructions and Cliff's going to go through and show you where things are at. The first thing says, from the radio, remove JP90. Let me see if I can get in there. That's a little better. JP90. Okay, so Cliff's going to take out JP90.
JP90 is out.
Okay, and the next thing is D89. That's a diode right there. D89. Okay, Cliff's going to take that out. Okay, and the next part is Q47. That's the final transistor. You saw him taking the hardware off earlier. This too is a brand new radio, so there's another brand new MOSFET to go in my new old drawer MOSFETs for $2. Oh no, that's a MOSFET. That doesn't go with her. Okay, I thought I was thinking of the other. Okay. The next one is L28 and L29. You're going to see those two right there, L28 and 29. Pull those out. If you don't have a desoldering iron like this, we find the easiest thing to do is grab the part from the other side with your hemostats, slight pull as you heat it with the solder iron on this side, and it'll come right out. And then you could use some solder wick to suck up the solder out of the hole. Another trick for solder wick, if you don't have any, is braid of coax. That's one. There's two. So that was L28 and L29. The next is C192. Alright, let me get down in there. You see down in there, there's point at the outside capacitor, and then an outside resistor, and then in between them, that's C192, right there. Okay. Now, C194. There it is right there in front of where L28 and 29 were. And there's a great diagram for the location of all these components in the CB Tricks instructions you'll find in the introduction to this video. Okay, did you get 195 now? 195 is right there. It used to be in between the two coils that we just took out. We got 195. Okay, and the last one on the step one is C198. That's the electrolytic capacitor. Right there. Can't miss it. C198. Step 2 of the procedure is to cut the receive cable out of the RFX-75 board. We did that earlier and introduced that to you. There's a note to take care to cut it close enough to the PC board that it does not short out against anything. That's why we had those long nipper end cutters that we use. Step 3 is going to be to drill a hole for the wires and mount the RFX-75. You'll see on the back of this board, unlike the 29 we just did, there's no grooves to run wires. We're going to have to do the hole and drill a hole in the chassis to run the wires for this one. So let's get a drill and move on to step 3.
Okay, we removed the ID plate that was on this 959 that we're working on for the RFX-75. We're going to remove this final once we get inside. That's underneath this screw. This one here, we're going to loosen up and move over so that it doesn't hit on this nut on the inside. It's going to hold the RFX-75. Next, we open it up and we remove the wire that goes here, which is a black coax jumper. We're going to run a screw through there and stick it in this little hole right there. That's going to give us our first hole, which is already in the radio. Make sure that when you put it in, this covers all the way up to the top.
Let's see what hole that is again.
It's this hole right here next to the final, the driver final.
Okay.
Alrighty. I'm going to get that in. Gonna make sure this top is flush against the top cover here and against the side over here so that it squares up. When we get done, our other cover is going to go on. It'll be flush also. When we come in this other hole and we go in here and we scribe it like so. It's going to be a nice tight fit. We have our hole. So after we get the covers off, we'll remove our pieces as we show you step by step. We'll drill our hole here, and we're also going to drill a big hole in this area right here to run all of these wires through.
Okay, we got that hole cleaned up. Now we're going to snap a grommet in there just in case. We'll deburr that hole. Bolt that up tight. We'll be right back. Okay, we got it mounted up tight. Let's look inside. We wanted to show you that spot. Right down in there. Let me see. We get a little closer in. Right down in there. You see that nut that we mounted? That's why we moved that driver transistor earlier in the beginning of the show. We moved it over because we knew that that was going to be a problem. Okay, let's go on to our next step. Okay, moving on to step 4. Solder the yellow wire to the positive side of C198. I think you remember C198 was, oh, I'm way out of focus. C198 was that electrolytic capacitor we took out right there. The yellow wire to the positive side. Point to that spot when you're done with that. There we go. Okay. Right there. Alright, now flip it over and show them which hole the positive goes into.
Positive is going to be to the front of the radio.
There, I think we got a good shot of that right there. Okay, step 5 is to solder the RF in coax, the center conductor, to the junction of C210 and JP91. I've made a correction in my notes here that says JP90. 210 junctions with JP90, right where we're going to put the center in.
Alright, the center is going to go right here.
Let me get it. I'm a terrible cameraman.
JP90 was this jumper that we took out earlier.
Okay, so the center's
going to go right there.
Over there. Right there.
And then the ground is going to come up here.
The ground.
To where the variable was for another radio or function. We're going to go to this bottom hole, which if you look on the back of the board, it's going to be this big ground bus right here.
Right. And that's going to be our DC ground, our floating ground inside the radio, not the chassis ground. So the yellow coax gets the floating ground, the red coax gets the chassis ground. Okay, and next we're going to move to step 6, which is going to be the solder the RF out coax connector. That's the one with the red heat shrink. Okay, so he's going to put that red coax in, and this is the one I said was a little different. The ground on this coax is a chassis ground. And we'll show you on the other side the difference between chassis ground and DC ground, the floating DC ground. Chosen some tiny holes to try to run it through to keep it neat. Very tough to get at. Those are roughly where C192 was, I believe. Way in the back.
One soldered in.
Okay, we wanted to show you where we hooked that coax. That is chassis ground. You see where it connects to the chassis as well? Right through that screw, it connects to the chassis. So he's going to hook the ground right to there, not to the inner floating ground, DC ground. And then the center of the coax went right there. That's right where C192 was lifted. Okay. We're going to solder the orange wire to the center leg of Q54.
Q54 is over here.
Right.
The center leg runs up.
Which is kind of redundant, so it runs right up there.
These jumpers, where that plate is, where we pulled it out earlier. So the easiest place, pull the plate out and go to this back leg. You strip your wire back here, pull it up some, pre-tin it. You can lay it down in there nice and pretty. Bring it right up the side of the leg, like so. That, and solder it in. It's nice and out of the way, stuffed out of the way. Shield back in.
It's a jumper.
Next,
Nope. Let's stay with the directions. The next one is the unsoldered lead of C190, which is right next to...
C190 is right here.
Let's just show them that. Right there. 190.
You unsolder the leg furthest to the back of the radio.
Right there.
Right there.
Cliff's going to unsolder that, and he's going to add a little piece of wire.
Resistor.
Oh yeah, 3.3 k ohm quarter watt resistor in series with that capacitor.
So we'll drop this down in the hole, all the way down. Come up the top side, and we'll grab that resistor and wrap it to the leg of the capacitor that we pulled up. It's right there. That's the capacitor. We'll wrap the resistor and then we're going to solder it. Take it.
Okay, the next step is to put a jumper where L28, remember L28, that little guy right there, he was removed out of the radio down in there. From that hole to that hole, we're going to put a jumper in there. Just a little, like that. Okay, we got that jumper in now. There it is right there. Oh, that's okay, I got it. And now we're going to go for the blue wire. The blue wire goes to JP97. This is where we have 8 volts in transmit mode. You're soldering that jumper? I got ahead of him a little bit.
JP97 is right down here. It's jumper wire from here to here.
Alright, we see it.
There again, strip the wire back. You can tuck it away nice and neatly. So. Down on JP90 and
97.
Solders it right down to that. Get this little bit up here like so. And our trusty little nippers come in handy again because it can get right down in there. Again, nice and neat.
There, finally got focus right there. Okay.
Now the last 2 wires that we have are hot and our negative. They go straight to your power. Unlike the Cobra 29s, we leave the fuse in line inside the radio.
It's still redundant, but the cord needs to be longer anyway, and we got room for it, so why not? You still have to upgrade your power cord. You still have to put your power cord to 10 amps. So it's just redundant, but...
Solder on here. Down here to the hot side. Just a second, I'll turn it so you can see it. Nice and good. Same thing with the negative. put some wire ties on it and do a final tuning.
Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, so that's the end of our instructions. Like you said, we're going to clean it up, spiff it up, put some wire ties on it, check our work. Always check your work. Okay. Step 5 in the instructions says solder the RF-in coax, that's the one with the yellow heat shrink, to the junction of C210 and JP91. That's a typo, by the way. It's JP90 and 210 that come together. So at their junction, we solder the center of that coax, and then we choose right where he's pointing. See that spot there? We use that spot to go through for the DC ground, the board floating ground. There's the center, and there's the ground for the RF-in yellow. Okay, it's getting late in the day. I summed up the tune-up procedure while you were away, because I already got it tuned up and checked out, so we're back here to show you how it's doing. I didn't put in any other parts. I just did my tune-up and my bench work off camera. Alright, so this is what we got. Let's show them AM first. AM all the way up. The EKL recommended 15 watts. All the way down I set it to 2 watts. Alright, over here on the peak reading meter, 100 watt scale. Audio, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Audio, check. For once, I got 75 watts out of a 959 with an RFX-75. Usually we only get about 65. Audio, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Audio, check. Audio, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Audio, check. Audio. Okay, and then on the sideband, audio, check. As usual, just a little bit less. 1, 2, 3, 4, check. 60, 62 maybe. And over here, the waveform looks good. I got it locked down pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4. This gets squirrely real fast. You have to do what you're doing with the audio limiter. Audio. Oh, that's going to square and boxcar on you and look like hell. Alright. So that, I believe, is the conclusion. But don't forget, in the end, we're going to take this power cord off. If you've seen in my other videos, we're going to put in a heavy-duty power cord. We have one over here, good. We're going to put in one of these heavy-duty power cords that have a dual fuse on them. Made by workmen. We're going to put that in. We're going to change the fuse in there. A little 4-amp fuse on the ground side. I don't know where that engineer was taught, but 10 amps in is 10 amps out in my book. Alright. I hope you liked our long, tedious video. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to ever see one again, or if that was long and tedious and you think it sucked. Have a good day.